Welcome to Work on the Left Side. It is just my ugly mug tonight. Didn't want to not do an episode this week. I was meant to be speaking to the Huggernaut Jimmy Coomer yesterday, but I had to reschedule due to family stuff. So nothing to worry about. All is good. Just had a family thing going on. So yeah, we had to reschedule. So Jimmy Coomer will be coming soon. Obviously, we've got Adam Bolt next week, but I just kind of wanted to, just do an episode, kind of keep that routine every week, getting something out there, just talking about British wrestling, whether I'm talking to somebody or if I'm just talking about something just by myself, to myself, is whenever I do these solo videos, it's like a therapy session. I'm just kind of sat here, my decline into madness, and you're all coming along for the journey. So yeah, that's all this one is going to be. So apologies if you expected to tune in, see an amazing guest, an awesome guest, here then we go, you have stories of British wrestling. Nah, it's just me. So if you stop watching now, totally understand. I'll see you next week when we're talking to Adam Bolt. If you're still here, cool, thank you. I'm really kind of going into this. I'm just winging this one. I haven't really pre-planned anything. That's not how my brain works. I'm just going to sit here. I am going to start talking about wrestling, and we'll see where it goes. So yes, come along into the magical space of time, and we will talk. First things I want to mention whilst it's on my brain is I just mentioned him, next week's guest, Adam Bolt. If you follow Adam on the socials, you will have seen some amazing pictures of him at the dungeon. Adam Bolt, Jackie T, Brady Phillips training at the Heart Dungeon with TJ and Natty. That is just mind-blowing. That is amazing. That is next level awesomeness. If you know this channel, you've heard me, Dan, Paul, various other people talk about Adam Bolt. We have a high regard of huge appreciation for the awesomeness that is Adam Bolt. If he's training somewhere like that and learning from people like that, that is leveling up. That is unlocking trophies. That is achieving, just living his best life. That's amazing. To me, was just, I loved it. I saw those pictures and I was so hyped, and I just think it's going to be. I'm looking forward to talking to Adam about it next week, because I've got a feeling it's going to come up, as well as obviously his upcoming Pride title match with Shame on A at True Grit. Jacob's Ladder, 14th of November. There we go. It only took a couple of minutes. We're plugging True Grit already. That is obviously going to be an amazing show. If you haven't got a ticket for it yet, please do so. We will see you there. Talking of awesome shows, I wasn't there. I did ask Paul and Dan to join me tonight, but they're both sort of busy, which is fine. It was a very late minute. I literally messaged them this afternoon being like, guys, go on, talk to me. I want to live vicariously through you. I want to sit here and listen to you tell me about Planet Wrestle from last Sunday. I've seen the photos. I've seen some of the footage. It looked awesome. Planet Wrestle always put on great shows, and it seems like now they found a new home at the Oddsall Top, in association with Bradford Bulls. That's great. That's huge. That kind of thing is amazing for Planet, and for everybody involved as well. They're putting on shows at a great venue, a great community. The Bradford papers seem to be well behind it. They're hyping the shows up for them. They're getting loads of publicity. Man, this is, again, I said it about Adam Bolt, but this is next level shit. This is awesome. And also, it's great for the talent. It gets more eyes on the talent. Anyone who's been to a Planet show knows it's fun. I don't need to tell you that. But the awesomeness of the show just gone was a few new faces. Obviously, it coincided with North's trip back to Leeds, which I'm still heartbroken about. North, please, next time you come to Leeds, do it on a Friday, mate. Please don't do it on a Sunday. I will not be able to get there. Please do it on a Friday night again. I mean, what's better than wrestling on a Friday night in Leeds? Go to watch North, a few drinks with your mates. That's a Friday night, But yeah, obviously at Planet, because talent was on at North, it freed up some spots on the Planet show for, I mean, obviously on the poster, you know, we clocked the new faces of like Evan Bishop was on the poster. Great, awesome. Callum Andrews was on the poster. Yes. On the day, you know, Matty Carter, George Hunter turned up. Two guys that I've spoken to previously, two guys that I just think are next level as well. Matty Carter is just going to be, you know, keep your eyes on him, mate. He's off to the moon next few years. That dude is good. And obviously George Hunter, you know, I'm not even going to say to the moon. The dude's kind of already there. He's kind of plugged his little GH flag into the moon. You know, he's debuted at True Grit. He's wrestled at, you know, Blackheart now. He's going to be, this time next year, I'm expecting to see George Hunter, you know, at like Infamous, North Wrestling in Newcastle, True Grit continuously, you know, hopefully like Tidal, another local promotion, you know, just everywhere and anywhere. You know, I'd love to see him just pop up in all the places. Another thing as well, obviously, you know, the year is flying by. I put this out on socials earlier, you know, it'll be December before we even know it. Sorry for saying that. I know we've not had Halloween yet. Golden rule in my house is we do not talk about December. We do not talk about Christmas until Halloween has been and gone. That is our family holiday. But I would be amiss if I didn't mention it because I need to start planning, not just for all the Mario goodness my kid's going to get, but for the end of year awards. Anybody who follows us over on Twitter knows I make a massive deal about this every year. I kind of run the polls throughout December. We normally start off with about 50 wrestlers in various categories or teams and promotions, and then we whittle them down to like the final four, and then you know, it's all put out to the vote. You know, you all decide, you know, you cast your votes, you see who's going to win. And this year I kind of, just because of the amount of talent that's out there, just because of the amount of quality promotions, I kind of venture sometimes out of what I like to class as my radius, my area. But I think this year we are going to keep it within, you know, Yorkshire, Midlands, Northeast, Northwest. I'm going to, you know, cover promotions. They're basically the areas that I think, you know, that I talk about the most, that I cover the most. I do the reels for, you know, various promotions. Not for them, they don't ask me to do them. I just do them because it keeps me out of trouble. But obviously, you know, if you've look on our Instagram, you know, you'll see Infamous reels, you'll see Wrestling in Newcastle reels, you obviously see the True Grit ones. There's a few UKW ones popping up now from shows that I've been to. And yeah, you know, they're the kind of promotions that I want to sort of put into the end of year awards. You know, the point of these awards was always to get eyes on things that you might not know about. Hence why I've never included like Rev Pro or Progress in the awards. Everybody knows about them. You know, they are huge. They don't need eyes. I mean, promotions like North and True Grit don't need eyes, but they're close to my heart, so, you know, I include them as well. But yeah, you know, Infamous, you know, it's another one, great promotion. It's got its fan base, doesn't need me helping it or hyping it in any way, shape, or form. But because I love it so much, you know, yeah, it gets included. But it's just, so yeah, basically, you know, the end of year awards, it's going to be talent. That's hopefully most of you guys, I presume, you know, the audience base for people who watch these episodes are kind of in or around that area anyway. And you've kind of found this through, you know, our coverage of said promotions or talent on those shows. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. You know, I may start asking for names. You know, I've got a list of people that I want to include in them. In case I'm missing anyone, I'll probably put it out there. Put it in the comments if you want on here. Let me know if, you know, some of your, if you've ever watched any videos, you know I love my top fives. Put it in the comments. Give me your top five, you know, your top five tag teams within that area. You know, your top five wrestlers, your top five female wrestlers, you know, your top five promotions. Hit me up in the comments. I want to start getting some interactions on these episodes, you know. Obviously, promotions as well. The one rule that has always been in place for the promotions is you've got to have put on at least 4 shows this year. Individual shows across, you know, 4 individual dates to be in there. So, you know, if there's any promotions missing, it's no besmirchment. North have won it back to back. Previous winners, Rio has won female wrestler 2 years in a row. Mr. Tom Campbell, sir, the awesomeness, he has won ring announcer 2 years in a row. Last year's male wrestler was Liam Slater, and tag team of the year was The Brand, because that is what they do. So yeah, that kind of gives you an idea. Obviously, competition is going to be fierce. There's so much talent, even just within those sort of 4 regions. And I could probably name 100 wrestlers. So yeah, you guys want to help me out by dropping me some of your names, some of your favorite people. Do so. If they're not on my list, I will add them to the list. But yeah, that was it really. I just kind of wanted to talk about a few things. It's obviously the end of year awards. Adam Bolt, True Grit, I just mentioned, Jacob's Ladder, 14th of November. They've just announced Alexis Falcon versus Natalie Sykes. So it's always cool seeing Natalie back in True Grit. She's not there half as much as we would like her to be, but she's back straight in with a title shot. We'll see what Alexis does. And yeah, I mean, obviously they haven't officially announced them via match graphics yet, but we know we've got Adam Bolt versus Shay Monet, which I mentioned before. We've got Misery Business versus Meatwagon versus The Regime for the tag titles in a ladder match. We've got Riley Nova versus Kemper in a chain match. We've got Joey Slade versus Inserico. It's going to be awesome. True Grit is always awesome. So yeah, get to that. Also want to shout out 1st November. There is an Infamous show, and that looks locked and loaded, as I believe it says on the graphic. I'm kind of inside my own head now. I can't remember very clear. I'm engaged goldfish memory. I'm sure it's called Locked and Loaded and Ready for This or Born for This. Whatever it's called, it doesn't matter. It's going to be an amazing show. Just again, hit us up on the socials. We've been advertising it, or just wait a couple of seconds, and by the magic of the internet, I'll pop all the matches up just here over my hand. There we go. There's the matches. Looks good. That is going to be Infamous again. Always put on banging shows. Nothing but love for Infamous. DJ King used to do the WCW 2000s and then the Royally Rumbled episodes with us on here. Yeah, he's a top dude. Fully deserves all the love and support that Infamous gets. He should get more love and support. So make that a 2026 resolution. Go watch Infamous. So then I think obviously just not that as well. Talking of November, Wrestling in Newcastle are having an away day at Middlesbrough. So that is stacked as well. That match, again, I'll put some of the match graphics up, for the matches that have been announced. Obviously, a few jump out at me. Me, I've always said Rampage Brown is the GOAT. That is a term that gets used way too much. I use it way too much. But the true definition of GOAT, you look it up in the dictionary, and what you will find is the definition of GOAT. If they had pictures in dictionaries, you would see a picture of Rampage Brown next to the term GOAT. Rampage is my greatest of all time, and he will be at Wrestling in Newcastle against Troy Ryan. The meatiness, the chops. It's just going to make your local butchers embarrassed. They cannot match the quality of these chops. These chops will be pristine. Troy Ryan versus Rampage Brown. It's going to be just mind-blowing. As well, though, shout out 21 Union. So you got Seb Mercer, you got Joe Sedgwick, who will be going against one of my all-time new favorite people I've been watching this year, late last year, Henry Fast, and Joe Wade, another one, is also in my top 5 currently. So you got Henry Fast, Joe Wade. Sorry, I'm just imagining the match in my head now. It is just going to be absolute brutality. Henry Fast, Joe Wade, Seb Mercer, Joe Sedgwick, just going at it in Middlesbrough. It's going to be absolutely banging. And yeah, it's just, there's plenty of other matches. I sort of say, I'll put them up on screen so you can see them and be amazed. Let your brain melt into your head as you view the potential wrestling utopia that will be Middlesbrough on that day. It's just, yeah. So that's it, really. I just kind of wanted to get all this off my chest. I'd be amiss if I didn't say first Sunday of every month, get yourself to Guiseley Theatre for Blackheart Wrestling. Blackheart, again, another promotion that I'll always shout out when I get a chance. As I said, first Sunday of every month, Guiseley Theatre. Great stories, great talent. You know, it's just, and again, it's run by great people who I know and appreciate. And I will do everything I can just to kind of hype them up, get eyes on that. I know they've had a lot of new faces turning up at Blackheart recently in the audience, so you know that's cool. It's nice. I think word's getting out there now. People are starting to cotton on to the fact that, yeah, you know, you don't need to spend 30, 40 quid on a ticket to go to a show. You know, you can do, they're awesome, but you can also, if you see a promotion and it's only a fiver or it's only a tenner, I mean, hell, wrestling in Newcastle, their tickets are a tenner. That is just boggling. But yeah, promotions like Blackheart, it's like £5 for a ticket, but you're getting to see guys like Sean Only, Sammy Blue, Gung Ho Muttley, Seb Mercer, Joe Sedgwick, obviously, who were mentioned with the wrestling in Newcastle. You see those guys, you see Cliff Harrison, you see Rebus Kane. You've seen people that are just fine-tuning the characters, that are just going out there and delivering and doing what they do. And for a fiver, why would you not? If you can get there, it's a great afternoon. It'll be a great show, and you'll walk away with a smile on your face. I promise you. Beats, beats, beats. So yeah, that is basically all I can think of to talk about right now in regards to wrestling. Give me a couple of minutes, I'll probably think of something else, but I won't subject you to that. If you've made it this far into the episode, God bless you. It does us all good to suffer. But yeah, thank you. But yeah, obviously, I've mentioned some promotions. I've talked about the end of year awards. Just have a look what's around you. This is the point where I suppose, oh shit, yeah, okay, I thought of some more stuff to say, so apologies. But yeah, just British wrestling in general. If you know this channel, I use Work the Left Side to try and hype British wrestling up as much as possible. That's my key, that's my goal. I want to try and give back to everybody involved in it for the years of entertainment that they've given, me and, the other people that are on Work the Left Side. That is our point. It's not about us, it's about them. Everybody involved in the wrestling at the minute is absolutely smashing it. You're just putting the bodies on the line, the hours it takes, the creativity, the stress of running a show, of promoting a show, of filming a show, of taking pictures, everything that comes after it, editing it and all, running social media accounts for promotions, everything across the board that a lot of the great promotions now have. Everybody involved, just give yourself a massive pat on the back. That's the point I'm trying to make in my long-winded kind of way. And on behalf of Work the Left Side and everybody that's involved in Work the Left Side, I just want to take a second to say thank you. You give everything to us, so I just want to let you all know it's appreciated, so thank you. But yeah, it's enough of that anyway. I'm with a tear in my eye. Yeah, that's it really. So as I sort of said, keep your eyes peeled. We've got Adam Bolt coming up next week. I will start announcing guests for November very, very soon. And yeah, that's it really. So as always, hit like, subscribe, share, comment, all the generic stuff we ask you to do. And remember, always work the left side. Goodbye.